chosen one, why are you still carrying what God already took away? Why are you still begging for what heaven already approved? Why does your soul feel like it's drowning when the rescue boat has been sitting at your dock since Tuesday morning? Stop, right there. Before you scroll past this moment thinking it's just another message, let me tell you something that will shatter every lie you've been believing about your situation. Tuesday was not just another day on your calendar. It was a courtroom date in heaven. And while you were sleeping, while you were worrying, while you were wondering if God had forgotten your address, the Almighty Judge of the universe was handing down his final verdict over your life. The gavel fell, the decision is sealed, and it cannot be appealed, overturned, or delayed by any force in hell or on earth. But why, you whisper, why does it still feel like I'm waiting? Why do my prayers echo back empty? Why does breakthrough feel like a cruel joke? Because, beloved, you've been looking for help to arrive when help has already moved in. You've been praying for doors to open when heaven already handed you the keys. You've been crying out for rescue when the angels have been standing in your living room since Tuesday, waiting for you to see what's already been done. Before we go deeper into this divine mystery, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let your heart respond in faith. But right now, this very second, if something in your spirit is already stirring, if your chest feels tight with recognition, if you sense this message carries your name written in heaven's handwriting, type 777 inches the comments. Don't think about it. Don't analyze it. Just respond. That's not superstition, chosen one, that's spiritual alignment. That's you telling heaven, I'm ready to see what you've already done. Because what I'm about to reveal will explain why Tuesday changed everything, why your waiting season just ended without you knowing it, and why the help you've been crying for has been sitting in your spiritual mailbox, unopened, since the sun rose on God's appointed day. The courtroom of heaven has spoken. The verdict is in. And you, chosen one, are about to discover that God's decision over your life is not just favorable, it's final. How many nights have you sat at your kitchen table at 2 a.m., staring at bills you can't pay, wondering if your own children remember you exist? How many times have you reached for your phone to call someone, anyone, only to realize there's nobody left who truly cares? How many mornings have you awakened feeling like a ghost in your own life, invisible to a world that once needed you? Dear chosen one, I see you there in that silence, that deafening, crushing silence that screams louder than any storm. You've been living in it for months, maybe years. The silence of grown children too busy for Sunday dinner. The silence of friends who've moved on or moved away. The silence of a church that no longer calls you to serve. The silence of a body that betrays you and a bank account that mocks your decades of hard work. But the cruelest silence of all, the silence from heaven. You've prayed until your knees ached and your voice cracked, crying out to a God who seemed to have put you on eternal hold. Where are you? You've whispered into the darkness. Did I do something wrong? Have you forgotten me in my old age? You thought retirement would bring peace. Instead, it brought panic. You thought your golden years would shine. Instead, they felt tarnished by loneliness, irrelevance, and the terrifying realization that Social Security barely covers your medications, let alone your dignity. Joseph knew this silence. 13 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, watching younger men get promoted while he rotted in a cell. Job understood this abandonment. Sitting in ashes, scraping his sores, while his own wife told him to curse God and die. Anna the prophetess waited 84 years in the temple, watching generation after generation come and go, wondering if she'd die before seeing God's promise fulfilled. But here's what hell doesn't want you to understand. You thought you were forgotten, but you were preserved. You thought you were abandoned, but you were protected. You thought you were being punished, but you were being positioned. God's silence was not rejection, it was preparation. Every tear you've cried in that empty house has been collected in heaven's bottles. Every prayer you thought bounced off the ceiling has been building pressure in the spiritual realm. Every moment you felt invisible to the world, you were becoming more visible to heaven. If you've ever felt like heaven was silent, type, "I hear you, Lord," in the comments right now, because your testimony doesn't begin with your breakthrough. It begins with recognizing that your wilderness was never abandonment. It was appointment. And Tuesday? Tuesday was the day God's silence finally broke. Listen to me, chosen one. You've been living like you're still on trial, but the courtroom closed Tuesday morning. This isn't a vote that can be swayed by public opinion. This isn't a petition that needs more signatures. This is a verdict final, absolute, and unchangeable. Heaven's gavel has struck, and no man, no devil, no closed door, no rejection letter can overturn what the Almighty has decreed over your life. You want to know why you've felt so restless, why sleep won't come, why you keep checking your phone, your mailbox, your bank account, waiting for some sign that things are changing. Because your spirit knows something your mind hasn't caught up to, yet the decision has already been made. While you've been stuck in the broken system of human delays, waiting for callbacks that never come, approvals that drag on for months, doors that slam in your face after you've knocked until your knuckles bleed, heaven operates on a different protocol entirely. Isaiah 55:11 declares with thunderous authority, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please." Did you hear that? God's word doesn't come back empty-handed. It doesn't fail. It doesn't get lost in bureaucratic red tape. Job understood this divine finality when he declared in Job 42:2, "I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee." No thought, no plan, no decree from heaven can be blocked by earthly resistance. But here's what's breaking my heart about your situation right now. You've been waiting for permission from people who don't have the authority to give it. You've been seeking approval from systems that were designed to deny you. You've been knocking on doors held shut by human hands when God already signed your release papers Tuesday morning. The bank that denied your loan, they don't have the final say. The doctor who gave you a grim diagnosis, that's not the last word. The family members who wrote you off, their opinion just became irrelevant. The employer who passed you over, they missed their chance to be part of your miracle. Heaven's decree trumps every human decision. God's verdict overrules every earthly court. His signature on your breakthrough carries more weight than every no you've ever received combined. If you're ready to step into that release, if you're done begging people for what God already approved, say it out loud right now. I receive heaven's verdict, because what's about to unfold in your life will prove that when God decides, the matter is settled, and you're about to discover exactly what He decided about you. Listen to me, chosen one, while you've been pacing the floor at 3 a.m., wondering if God heard that desperate prayer you whispered through tears. He wasn't just listening, He was dispatching. Tuesday morning, while you were drinking your coffee and scrolling through bills you couldn't pay, angels were already walking through your front door. Not coming. Already here. Not planning to help. Already working. You think help looks like a check in the mail. Sometimes it does. But sometimes help looks like the sudden peace that floods your chest when anxiety used to live there. Sometimes help is your adult daughter calling after months of silence, her voice soft with words you thought you'd never hear. "Mom, I'm sorry." Sometimes help is the doctor's confused expression as he stares at test results that don't match what was there last week. Help isn't always loud, beloved. Sometimes it whispers. That knot in your stomach that finally loosened yesterday, that's help. The sleep you got last night after weeks of insomnia, that's help. The stranger who smiled at you in the grocery store when you felt invisible to the world, that's help wearing a human face. But here's what's going to shock you to your core. You've been praying for provision while sitting on a gold mine. You've been crying for healing while medicine flows through your spiritual bloodstream. You've been begging for peace while angels have been organizing your chaos for days. 2 Kings 6:17 shows us Elisha's servant, terrified by enemy armies, until his eyes were opened to see that the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around. The help was always there. He just couldn't see it. Right now, this very moment, your house is full of heaven's first responders, financial angels balancing books you can't balance, healing angels rewriting medical reports, reconciliation angels softening hardened hearts in your family, peace angels silencing the voices in your head that scream, "You're not enough." The help you prayed for is no longer in transit, it's in your house. It's time to stop looking for what's already arrived. It's time to stop begging for what's already been approved. It's time to start thanking God for what's already working. Declare it in the comments. Help is here, and watch heaven respond to your faith. But here's the question that will determine everything. If help has already arrived, why does it still feel like you're fighting this battle alone? You know what breaks my heart? It's watching beautiful souls like you, people who've survived 80 years of storms, who've buried loved ones, who've weathered divorces and diagnoses and disappointments, still introducing yourselves as failures, still wearing the labels this world stuck on you like prison uniforms. I'm just a widow. I'm just retired. I'm just getting by. I barely made it through. Stop. Right there. Stop calling yourself what hell named you when heaven has already renamed you. You think your story is about survival. Dear one, your story is about divine intervention. You think you've been limping through life. No, you've been walking on water while everyone else drowned in circumstances that would have destroyed lesser souls. The old book has closed. Chosen one. Those chapters where you were defined by your struggles, your age, your limitations, that book just slammed shut. And right now, this very moment, the ink of heaven has started writing a completely new story with your name as the title. But here's what's going to shock you. Here's what's going to shatter every lie you've believed about your golden years. You're not in the sunset of your story. You're in the sunrise of your greatest chapter. Look at Moses. 80 years old when God called him from a burning bush. 80. When the world would have put him in assisted living, God put a staff in his hand and said, "Now we begin." For the next 40 years, Moses split seas, received commandments, and led a nation to freedom. His greatest accomplishments happened when the world said he was done. Look at Sarah, 90 years old when she held Isaac in her arms. 90, when every doctor would have called it impossible, when every neighbor whispered it was too late, when even Sarah herself laughed at the absurdity. God said, "Watch this." Genesis 21:6 records her words. God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. That wasn't just joy, dear one. That was vindication. But let me ask you something that's going to cut deeper than a surgeon's blade. How long are you going to let the world's definition of old age steal your authority? How long are you going to believe that your best days expired with your youth? How long are you going to accept being invisible when God is preparing to make you undeniable? Because I'm telling you right now, Tuesday changed everything. Tuesday was the day heaven looked at your file and said, "Enough. This one has carried shame long enough. This one has hidden long enough. This one has accepted less than their inheritance long enough." The help that arrived Tuesday isn't just solving your problems, it's rewriting your identity. You are no longer the person who barely survived the divorce. You are evidence that God holds broken hearts until they heal stronger. You are no longer the person who struggled through retirement. You are proof that God's provision doesn't depend on paychecks. You will not be remembered as the one who barely made it. You will be remembered as the one God helped. Do you understand what that means? It means your grandchildren won't talk about how you struggled. They'll talk about how you overcame. Your neighbors won't whisper about your hardships. They'll marvel at your turnaround. Your obituary won't read like a list of burdens carried. It will read like a testimony of battles won. This is your new identity. You are the evidence of God's help in action. But here's the urgency pressing against my spirit right now. Here's why this moment matters more than any other. The enemy knows what God just declared over your life. He knows that once you start walking in this new identity, once you stop apologizing for taking up space and start occupying the territory God gave you, you become dangerous to his kingdom. So he's going to fight you. He's going to whisper that you're too old, too tired, too broken for this new chapter. He's going to remind you of every failure, every mistake, every time you fell short. But that's not your story anymore. Your new story begins with these words: God decided, and help arrived. Right now, if you can feel this new identity settling into your bones like warm honey, if you can sense the old labels peeling off like dead skin, if you're ready to stop being defined by what you survived and start being defined by how God helped you survive it, type your name in the comments and add these 3 words: God helped me. Don't you dare scroll past this moment. Your new story is waiting for you to claim it. And the world needs to see what happens when someone finally accepts their true identity as evidence of heaven's help. But first, you need to understand why Tuesday was chosen as your delivery date, and what's been happening in the unseen realm while you thought you were forgotten. Listen to me, chosen one. You've been robbed, not by thieves in the night, but by time itself. Years stolen by disappointment, decades devoured by delay, seasons swallowed by suffering. You look in the mirror and wonder where the time went, why your dreams feel ancient, why your breakthrough seems like a fairy tale for someone else's life. But I'm about to tell you something that will ignite hope in places you thought had turned to ash forever. God doesn't just give back what was taken, he pays interest on stolen time. Tuesday wasn't just the day heaven made its decision. Tuesday was the day the divine payroll department opened your file and calculated exactly what you're owed. Every tear you cried in secret, that's compound interest building. Every prayer you whispered in the dark, that's spiritual overtime accumulating. Every year you felt forgotten, that's back pay with heaven's interest rate. And beloved, heaven doesn't pay minimum wage. Joel 2:25 carries a promise that will shatter every lie about your late start. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Not just replace, restore. Not just return, multiply. The locusts didn't just eat your crops. They ate your confidence, your relationships, your dreams, your sense of purpose. But when God restores, he doesn't hand you back damaged goods. He gives you brand new, upgraded, multiplied beyond recognition. You think you're too old. Moses was 80 when God handed him the leadership of a nation. You think you've missed your window. Sarah laughed at 90 because she thought motherhood was impossible, then held Isaac in her arms. You think your time is up? Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your expiration date, it's your activation code. But here's where it gets supernatural, where the natural laws of time bow to the spiritual laws of acceleration. What others spent 40 years building in their 20s and 30s is about to happen for you in 40 days. What took them decades to accumulate will flow to you in months. Why? Because acceleration is God's apology for the delay. Think about David. 30 years from shepherd to king, but when God's timing hit, everything happened at light speed. One moment he's hiding in caves, the next he's wearing a crown. Joseph spent 13 years in pits and prisons, but when Pharaoh called his name, he went from prisoner to prime minister before the sun set. God has been loading the slingshot of your destiny while you thought you were just waiting. Every year of patience has been pulling back the rubber band of divine timing. Every season of silence has been building pressure for the release. And now, right now, God's finger is on the trigger of your acceleration. This isn't just restoration, chosen one. This is accelerated restoration on steroids. What should have taken you until 90 will happen by 70. What seemed impossible at your age will become inevitable in your season. The dreams you buried because you thought you were too late. They're not dead, they were dormant, waiting for acceleration season to wake them up. Your grandchildren won't just hear stories about your struggles, they'll witness your comebacks. Your family won't just remember your pain, they'll celebrate your promotion. Your community won't just know you survived, they'll watch you soar. But acceleration requires activation. You can't sit in neutral and expect to experience overdrive. You can't whisper about breakthrough and expect to shout in victory. You have to align your mouth with heaven's decree, your words with God's will, your confession with His promise. Right now, don't just think it, say it. Don't just believe it, declare it. Let your voice become the tuning fork that aligns your reality with heaven's decision. This isn't positive thinking, this is prophetic speaking. This isn't wishful hoping, this is faith activating. Say it with me, and let every word carry the authority of Tuesday's verdict. I'm stepping into acceleration. What was delayed is now released. What was stolen is now restored with interest. My time is not up, my time is now. Did you feel that shift? That wasn't just words in the air, that was a spiritual transaction. You just deposited faith into heaven's account, and the withdrawal of blessing is already processing. Because chosen one, when God decides to accelerate your life, He doesn't just change your circumstances, He changes the very fabric of time around you, bending eternity to serve your destiny. But this acceleration isn't just about catching up to where you should have been. It's about catapulting you beyond where you ever imagined you could go. Chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred encounter, I need you to carry these truths with you like precious jewels in your heart. Remember this: Tuesday wasn't just another day, it was your divine appointment with destiny. God's decision over your life is final, sealed in heaven's courts, and no force on earth can overturn what the Almighty has decreed. The help you've been crying for isn't coming, it has already arrived. Your waiting season has ended, your acceleration has begun, and restoration is flowing into your life right now. But more than that, remember, you are never walking this journey alone. Even when the silence felt deafening, even when the pain seemed unbearable, even when hope felt like a stranger, God was there. He's still there, still working, still moving, still orchestrating every detail of your breakthrough. Romans 8:28 promises that all things work together for good to those who love God. And beloved, that includes this very moment you're experiencing right now. And beyond God's presence, you have something beautiful, this community. Right here, right now, thousands of hearts are beating in rhythm with yours. We're not just viewers on a screen, we're family in the spirit. We understand your struggles because we've walked similar paths. We believe in your breakthrough because we've witnessed God's faithfulness. We're here to pray with you, stand with you, and remind you that your story isn't over, it's just beginning its greatest chapter. Let me ask you this, and let it settle deep in your spirit. Now that you know God's decision is final, now that you understand help has already arrived, now that you see Tuesday changed everything, what will you do differently tomorrow morning when you wake up? Will you rise as someone still waiting, or as someone who's already received? Will you speak as someone still begging, or as someone whose prayers have been answered? Will you walk as someone forgotten, or as someone chosen, beloved, and divinely favored? Before you go, I want you to comment below and share what God spoke to your heart during this message. Tell us what shifted in your spirit. Ask for prayer if you need it. This community will surround you with intercession. And if this word ignited something in your soul, share it with someone who needs to hear that their Tuesday has come, that God's decision over their life is final, and that help has already arrived. Now, close your eyes with me. Whether you're sitting alone in your living room, lying in your bed, or listening in your car, I want to place my hand on your shoulder through these words and pray over your life with the authority of someone who has walked with God for decades and seen His faithfulness in every season. Heavenly Father, creator of time and space, the God who holds tomorrow in His hands, I come before you now carrying every precious soul who has stayed with me through this entire message. Lord, you see their hearts, you know their struggles. You've counted every tear, heard every whispered prayer, felt every moment of desperation. Father, I pray that you would breathe fresh wind into their weary souls right now. Where they feel depleted, restore them. Where they feel forgotten, remind them of their worth. Where they feel hopeless, ignite faith like a wildfire in their spirits. God, open doors that no man can shut. Provide resources they haven't even thought to ask for. Send divine connections that will accelerate their purpose. Give them dreams and visions that will clarify their next steps. Heal their bodies, mend their hearts, renew their minds, and restore their joy. But most of all, Father, let them feel your presence right now. Not just know it in their heads, but feel it in their bones. Let them sense your smile, your approval, your deep, abiding love for who they are and who they're becoming. Remind them that Tuesday's decision wasn't just about changing their circumstances, it was about revealing how precious they are to you. Cover them tonight. Guard their dreams, protect their families, prosper their ways, and let them wake up tomorrow with unshakable confidence that they are loved, they are chosen, they are never alone. In Jesus' mighty name, I seal this prayer with faith, hope, and love. Amen. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart, for letting these words penetrate the sacred spaces of your soul. If this message has changed something in you, if you've felt God's presence in a new way, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We're building something beautiful here, a community where faith grows, hope is restored, and destinies are fulfilled. Until we meet again, walk in the authority of Tuesday's decision. You are chosen, you are loved, you are never alone. And remember, chosen one, God's decision is final, and help has already arrived.